weird computer settings.
Oh, whoops.
Oh my gosh, it's literally cringe again after.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Feel Good Fiction. I am Elena Johnson, and as you can see down there in my little thing, it says also known as Jessie Newton, because we are celebrating a Jessie Newton kickoff book tonight, The Sound of the Sea. This book just came out yesterday. I've ordered myself a few extra paperback copies, and I'm excited to be doing a live event here with you tonight. We're going to be doing some giveaways. We're going to be doing a reading and just generally having a great time. Now, if you have attended one of my events before, you kind of know the drill. But if you are new, this is how we do things at Feel Good Fiction. So I always do giveaways during my little chat. The chats are short, anywhere from sometimes 20 minutes to sometimes an hour. But tonight probably won't be that long, just whatever we have going on. It really depends on how chatty some of you are. But I'm doing 3 giveaways tonight. And in order to be entered for the giveaway, you number one have to show up to the live events. So when I do live events on Feel Good Fiction, come. We always have a good time. And I always get to see your comments and other things going on. And I get to put things up there that you guys are excited about and that we can talk about this. And see, I can show Catherine's right here that says, love the cover. I know, isn't it the greatest cover? I thought it was so cute. Our designer is Elizabeth. I'm going to say Mackey, I think is how you say her last name. She did a great job on all of the covers. So I'm thrilled with my cover as well. It kind of indicates that we're setting sail on an adventure, which is what we're doing. This is the Sail Away series. Every book is going to be a standalone set sail adventure on a cruise. Back to our giveaways. When we do giveaways on Feel Good Fiction, you are entered to win by leaving a comment. So if you are watching on YouTube, you can comment on YouTube. I get those right in my feed. I can see them. If you're watching on Facebook, you can comment on Facebook. I get those right in my back end of where the video is being shown so that I can see them. So I'm doing 3 giveaways tonight. And as I'm going to tell you a little bit about those, we always start with something really easy. Where are you tuning in from? So where are you right now? Where you might be on vacation, tell us where you are. If you live in Wisconsin, tell us that too. I am coming at you from home. This is the first day I've been home in about 11 days. Been out of the country for a little bit. Home last night, middle of the night, around 1 o'clock in the morning. And here with you today from the shadow of the Rocky Mountains, just south of Salt Lake City in Utah. That's where I am coming from. So leave me a comment, tell me where you're coming from. All comments, even you saying you are in Wisconsin or you're on vacation, are entered to win one of our 3 giveaways tonight. The first one is a signed copy of The Sound of the Sea. So I ordered 3 or 4 of these. I think they're so awesome. I love a matte paperback. So that could be another thing you could comment on. Do you like a glossy paperback or a matte paperback? I love the matte. This is an old book of mine. It's glossy. And I just look at it and I'm like, no, I don't like you. I used to like the glossy ones, obviously. Every paperback I published previous to like the last 18 months was glossy. Now I'm a matte lover. I love the texture of it. I love that it doesn't shine. I just love it. Signed copy of The Lighthouse. So as Jessie Newton, I write women's fiction. So she is the author of 11 women's fiction novels. Sound of the Sea is number 12. And her most popular series, I only have 2 series, one in Nantucket and one on a fictional group of islands that I created off the coast of the eastern seaboard called Five Island Cove. And Five Island Cove is 8 books right now with the 9th book on pre-order. And The Sound of the Sea is technically a Five Island Cove novel. It uses characters from Five Island Cove, specifically the mother of one of the main characters in my Five Island Cove series. And The Lighthouse focuses a lot on Robin Glover, who is one of the main characters in the Five Island Cove series. And this book is her mother, Jennifer. Robin and Jennifer have a very tumultuous relationship that we see throughout 8 whole books, and then we get this book. So this book technically comes at the end of the Five Island Cove series. It comes at the end of where it is now. It's after book 8, which is Rebuilding Friendship Inn. So you can read this book as a standalone. I don't think that you'll have any problems following along with it, but it is meant to be read with Five Island Cove. So people who've read Five Island Cove, hopefully they'll pick up The Sound of the Sea. So I'm doing a signed copy of The Lighthouse as well tonight. And then I'm doing a $25 gift card to either Amazon or iTunes, so you can buy books on your iPad, or Nook, depending on where you read. So gift cards to one of those, your preference, if you win that tonight. So there'll be three gift cards, three giveaways and three winners tonight. You have to leave a comment during the live broadcast to be entered. I draw the winners at the end. So I hope you've been chiming in with where you're tuning in from. I've got a couple of windows open, so I'm going to click back over here and see where people are, what they're doing. We've got Debbie from California. That sounds sunny and warm. Jacksonville, also sunny and warm. New York, maybe not as sunny as warm. You're probably like me, and you're cold, and you're wishing that you were still out of the country. I went to Grand Cayman. We're going to talk about that a little bit in just a little bit, but it was beautiful and so sunny and so warm. Crescent City, I have met Cheryl. I don't know where that is in Florida. I don't want to assume that all of Florida is just tropical. But Nikki has got it in the Bahamas. That is amazing. I would like to be back there in the Caribbean. Ohio, welcome. We've got Northern Kentucky. Matt for the win. Yes, I agree with that. I see a lot of other Matts as well. Matt. I never really thought about it, but Matt. Yes, I'm telling you, man, once you see the mat, you kind of stroke it a little bit. Now, I don't want it to get weird, but it's exciting. That's the best part. Cold Ohio. Yep. Football Hall of Fame and Hawk Hall of Fame. Oh, that's kind of exciting, Paulette. Pennsylvania. I am writing a book right now that has a main character who lives in Pittsburgh, and I made it very cold and snowy there. So I'm hoping that that's what it is. Oh, the raised covers. Yeah, raised letters. Yeah, there's no cover treatment on these books. You have to do some specialized stuff through a different distributor. But if you buy through Amazon, there's no raised letters. Oh, I like the woods. And we've got people here from Missouri. Welcome, everyone, to our live broadcast today. So I hope you'll pick up The Sound of the Sea. It is out on all retailers. So that means that you can get it anywhere books are sold. So I'm going to put a little link right up here above me, books2read.com, Sound of Sea. It's on Amazon, it's on Nook, Apple Books, Kobo, and Google Play. It's obviously in paperback, not in audiobook yet. So I tend to not do simultaneous audiobook releases because I finished this book like on January 9th. And so there's just no time to get the audiobook done that fast. Those narrators are true artists doing their voice acting, and there's just not a really lot of way for me to get that audiobook done. I have to write so much further in advance, and I'm really bad at that. I am trying to get better, but I'm pretty bad at it. I will say the book that I'm writing right now, it is almost done. I think I have 3 or 4 chapters left. Sometimes I have a chapter that sneaks up on me, and I wasn't really anticipating it as I was writing. And yeah, I think I have about 3 or 4 chapters left, and I want to put that one out in March. And it's really early for me to be done this soon. Like February, I bet I'll have it done on Saturday, which would be February 4th, and have it come out middle of March, like 6-7 weeks early is pretty far ahead for me. So I'm really excited about that. And it is a travel romance on the beach, of course. Like, what else should we be reading in the winter but awesome cruise novels and sailing away to amazing adventures? That's what we need to be doing. So my next question is, since Sound of the Sea is on all retailers, where do you buy books? I'm always want to know where readers are getting their books from. So, I mean, you could say library. So The Sound of the Sea is in libraries. I've had a lot of people tell me they use the Libby app. They rent audiobooks from the library. Those things are all great. So I just always want to know where readers are going to get their books, because it helps authors, me especially. This is how I use it, at least, is helps me know where to continue to publish my books. So a lot of people don't know, and I try to let people know just as kindly as possible. Sometimes readers get upset if a book isn't here or isn't there, they can't find it, this, that, the other. If you enroll your books into Kindle Unlimited, you are exclusive with Amazon in ebook form, which means the ebook cannot be sold anywhere else. So I can't sell it on Nook, on Apple, on Google Play, on Kobo. I can't put it in libraries. I can't sell it on my own site. And I can do all of those things if I don't enroll the book into KU. So authors, me, I should not speak for all authors. I am always trying to decide, where should my books be right now? Should I have them on all retailers? Should I put them in KU? I always have an ebook and a paperback. And I do distribute my paperbacks through Ingram Spark, which means they can go to places like Walmart and Target, but those places typically have to order, and so they might not order the book. So that's also a thing. Okay, so we got some answers coming in here. Amazon, mostly ebooks. We've got Walmart. I buy on Amazon, Amazon and Kindle, Amazon, all ebooks. Libby app. Yes, see, I knew people would say Libby app. Hoopla. Yes, iBooks. And then Amazon as well. So awesome. We have a lot of Amazons, and I only saw one iBooks, and I didn't see any Nook, but I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Nook in a little bit, because I'm doing something with them next week, and I love partnering with Nook because they're one of my favorite retailers. I read a lot of books on Nook, and I also read a lot of books on my Kindle. So those are my two best places, and it's because I have an Android. I don't have an iPhone, and so I don't read on iBooks. I could on my computer, but I typically read on my Nook app, which I think is awesome, or my Kindle app, or I will say my BookFunnel app. So I get quite a few books from BookFunnel as well. And BookFunnel is not a storefront, but it's where I get free books from other authors or arcs from other authors when I sign up for their newsletters, or I'm just joining for promotional things. So I love, and their app is amazing. You can read right in the BookFunnel app, which is just really great. Or you can use their service to send to your other apps and devices. So that's awesome. Okay, so The Sound of the Sea. The Sound of the Sea is obviously a cruise, and it's a group series. So I wrote this first book, and then there will be 7 more books coming, one every week. And I think there's a week in there that skipped over in the calendar. We have a break that's like 2 weeks, and then we have a couple more books. But everyone is different. They're not related to each other. And the only sort of direction that we got was it has to be a cruise. And I was like, yeah, sure, I can do a cruise. That sounds awesome. And then when it came down time for me to research what I was going to do, what cruise I was going to do, mine is later in life. My main character is close to 70 years old. Like I said, it's the main character. It's one of my main character's mothers from my 5 Island Cove series. So I named it Silver Sails, and it was going to, single and over 60 was the requirement. So it became a singles cruise. And the more I started researching it and looking at cruises, I'll be right up front, I have not been on a cruise ever in my life. I was going to go a couple of years ago, and COVID canceled that. So we never made it onto the cruise ship out of Galveston. But we've been looking at cruises ever since. And one day I was down. I had back surgery just before Christmas. I was getting ready to write this book, outlining it, getting it all set up the way I do. And my husband sent me a link, and he said, look at this cruise. I was like, oh, yes, this perfect distraction from having to write this book. And it was a cruise on a yacht. It was not a cruise ship, not one of those big monsters that you see, with 2,500 people on them. It was a yacht. And the yacht, it was a luxury yacht. It was a luxury cruise line, luxury yacht, and it held 100 people total. There were 50 cabins. So 50 cabins of 2 people each. It was an adults only cruise line. Not maybe somewhere that you would bring your family and your kids and things like that. It wasn't a Disney cruise. And I thought, this is it. This is Silver Sails. This is my luxury cruise line. Jennifer Golden in my book is a millionaire. Her husband died about 15 years ago, and she discovered at that time that he had a lot of money invested in accounts and stocks and bonds, and were very wealthy. And she took it upon herself at that time, her kids were both adults, to pour herself into managing basically the wealth that he had created for them. And she's taken it very seriously, to the point where it has cost her relationships with her children. And that's what this book is about, is her coming to realize that there's more to life than managing money. And there's been some things that she's done that have been wrong and that she needs to correct with her kids to really be happy. And so it's sort of her journey of overcoming basically herself and her desire to do what's comfortable and keep doing that day in, day out. It's comfortable. She knows how to manage the accounts. She wants her kids to be independent and strong. So, of course, they don't need her and they don't need her help, but they really do. And just really the relationships between mother and child and what that looks like between adult children and adult, their mother, who they both have been craving. She has a daughter and a son. And Robin, like I've said, is her daughter. So that's kind of what the book is about, is this discovery of letting go of what doesn't matter and embracing what does. And so I put her on a cruise ship. I wanted it to be a long cruise so that she would have time to realize these things. And of course, I can't write anything without romance in it. I just can't seem to do it. In my early days as an author 15 years ago, I was writing dystopian novels, which, is not end of the world, it's post end of the world. It's the, sort of radical governments that come out of a zombie apocalypse or massive population event. And there are these big sci-fi novels, and mine were just full of romance. And I switched over to romance a couple of years later and write a lot of romance under Elena Johnson and Liz Isaacson. But Jessie Newton writes women's fiction that has some romance in it. But if you take that romance out, there's still a lot of story going on. And so it's not a straight romance. It is women's fiction with romantic elements. And so there's a romance in it as well. And I wanted Jennifer to be able to have time to really cultivate this romance with a man named Mitch, who is her old college roommate's brother. So at one point in the book, I say how she's living in a Hallmark movie. So it was her best friend in college. Her name is Blanche. And Blanche comments that she's living in a Hallmark movie, that literally her brother and her best friend are going to be getting together on this cruise ship. And so that's kind of what it is like. But I took the idea of the yacht and I made it have 100 rooms. And it could only hold 100 people. Whereas the luxury cruise line yacht that I was stealing inspiration from had 50 cabins. This one had 100. I just went with it because it's a singles cruise. So they all have their own cabin, of course. And then what I did after that is I had them leave from LA. I wanted it to be long, so I knew they could go a long ways. And there's transatlantic cruises, which I did not know. I didn't know that you could go from Europe to the US on a cruise ship. That sounds really terrifying to me. All I can think about is the Titanic, but it happens. And not only that, it happens on yachts like this, smaller boats. I didn't do that because it was a little too terrifying to me. And I was like, I don't want to write a terrifying book. I'm not writing a horror novel here. And I decided to go from LA back around to New York. So to do that, they have to go through the Panama Canal. So they start in LA and they come down the coast of Mexico, the western coast of Mexico and Central America, and through the Panama Canal over to the Caribbean Sea. And then they go through, they have a couple of stops in the Caribbean, one in Colombia, one in Grand Cayman. They stop in Miami for a night, and then they continue up to New York. And so I did that because I love the Caribbean. I love it. I've been there a few times now in my life, and I just love it. I love going to the Riviera Maya. I love Cozumel. I love Mexico, and I love Grand Cayman. Those are the places that I've been. So then what I did is I started researching bigger cruise ships, the big ones that hold 2,500 people, and where they would have their ports of call. And so that's kind of where I married the yacht together, the singles idea together with the bigger cruise ship and the ports that they would be at and the excursions and off boat things that you can do at those ports. That's how they kind of came together. And as I was writing the book, I had like 7 windows open, and I'd be like, okay, these are the different things that people can do at this specific stop. This is where they're going to stop. This is what they're going to do. This is how many days it's going to take. This is what day we're on. And that's kind of how I researched and mapped out the timeline and the place as where they would be going. So my next question for you is, if you've ever been on a cruise, have you ever been on a cruise? And if so, which one? I mean, there's so many. There's Carnival. We were just in Grand Cayman, and when we went downtown to the shops, there were 4 ships in port that day. There was one I had not heard of before. There was a Disney cruise one there. There was a Carnival cruise ship there. There was, I want to say, I can't remember. Then there was one that started with an A, Armstrong. I don't know. It started with an A. I was like, I've never heard of that cruise line. But there were a lot of people down in the big shops and stuff because they, ferry the people back and forth from the cruise ship to the beaches and stuff, and those shops. So which cruise ship line, if you can remember where you went, the cruise we were going to take a couple years ago left from Galveston, and it went to Cozumel and then went back. It was just a short little 5-day cruise. We've never been on a cruise before, my husband and I, and we wanted to do a short one to see if we would like it. Got to be real honest, I am not keen on crowds of people. Little spoiler, like secret about me. The thought of being on a cruise ship with 2,500 people kind of freaks me out a little bit. I don't like large groups of people or crowds of people. And so we wanted to try like a shorter cruise where it was just a few days. But tell me if you've been on a cruise before and where you went, if you liked it, that kind of stuff. Let's see what we've got coming up. Never been on a cruise. Oh, good. So we're in good company here. I've never been on a cruise either. Amanda has also never been on a cruise, and Debbie has also never been on a cruise. Well, this question is really backfiring. I was like, people who have cruised, literally everyone I talk to has been on the cruise. I feel like I'm the only one who hasn't. Oh, I've been on the large riverboat on the Mississippi. I have done that. I don't know if I would call that a cruise. It was just like a couple hours, but it was pretty fun. My son was real little. It was like 6 or 7, and we've got some cute pictures of him standing at the captain's wheel. That was really fun. Oh, okay. Judith has been on a cruise. She went to Mexico on Carnival, and she went to the Caribbean on the Norwegian cruise lines. Maybe there was a Norwegian boat in Grand Cayman. I can't remember. We've got more people from Florida. Awesome. Key West and Cozumel. Sounds fantastic, Barb. That was awesome. Oh, a honeymoon cruise. This sounds so fun. Royal Caribbean. Oh, I think it might have been Royal Caribbean that was at Grand Cayman. I'm never going to remember. I'm getting too old now to be able to hold those thoughts in my head the way I used to be able to. She's also done Carnival Norwegian and a cruise around Hawaii. Oh, you are a cruising expert, Kristen. Never been on a cruise ship, ferry in Washington. Sounds amazing. I've done some whale watching boat tours as well. Also, have a few other people who haven't been on cruises. It's okay. You don't have to be on a cruise to be here today. We can escape into the pages of a book to do our cruise. Okay, so I just went to Grand Cayman for 10 days. We were gone for 10 days down there in the Caribbean. It's quite the traveling to get there for us from Utah. It takes 2 days to get there. We have a 12 to 14 hour layover in Atlanta. And you usually land in Atlanta around 7 or 8 at night, which means you don't fly out until 8, 10, 12 in the morning the next day. So we get a hotel in Atlanta, stay overnight for 12 hours, fly to Grand Cayman the next day. Getting home we can do in 1 day, but you gain 2 hours. So it's a 26-hour day with a lot of sitting. So we sat at the airport in Grand Cayman yesterday for about 3 hours, flew for 3 hours to Atlanta, sat in Atlanta for 5 hours, and then flew to Utah for 4. So, I mean, we're talking like 16, 17-hour travel day. and it's pretty exhausting to get to and from there. But once you're there, it is bliss. If you've not been to Cayman, they say at Cayman, actually, Grand Cayman. There's also Cayman Brac, and there's another one down there. It's a chain of isles, the Cayman Islands. Grand Cayman is the biggest one. It's shaped like a whale, which I love, and I just love it there. I love the sun because in Utah right now we're getting almost no sun at all. Very gray skies, lots of rain, lots of snow. And it was so glorious to wake up to the sun every day and go sit out on the little porch and do a little bit of work while the sun comes up over the water. The snorkeling, we didn't see a lot of fish this time. We've been to Grand Cayman before, and there was quite a bit of snorkeling and fish that we saw the first time. And so I was really hopeful that we would see some little bit, few fish here and there, but lots of great snorkeling, lots of great beaches, so warm and beautiful. We saw a lot of parrots and lizards, and just had a great time just at the pool, at the beach, eating good food. And so one of our pictures a little bit later, when I'm getting ready to do the giveaways, has a picture from Grand Cayman that I took. It's at Smith's Cove, and it looks like it's not real, and it's real. I was there, and so I just love it. And I want to know if you love the beach too. If you've ever been to the beach, and I saw a lot of people here from Florida, so I'm assuming you're beach people. Been to the beach? If so, what's your favorite beach? And I have been to Hilton Head, and I do love Hilton Head. When we were at Hilton Head a couple of years ago, it was when there was that huge dust storm from the Sahara Desert. I don't know if you remember that. The sky was so murky, and I never realized how much I really want the sky to be blue until it's not blue. And then the winter is when that happens for us. And I'm like, where is the blue sky? I just want my sky to be blue and to see the sunshine. And so it was sunny in Hilton Head. We went in June, and so it was very hot and summery and humid, but the sky wasn't blue. And so I do love it there, but I think my favorite beach is Grand Cayman. I love Smith's Cove. We went to Spots Beach. 7 Mile Beach is amazing. So where is one of your favorite beaches? American River Cruises. I didn't see this. Go for about a week. They go down the Mississippi, and they have, I did not know that. That is something I'm going to have to do. I love the beach too. On the Gulf. There's nothing like the Gulf of Mexico. You are 100% right. I'm convinced it's because it's connected to the Caribbean Sea, right? Like the Caribbean, there's just nothing like it. I love Galveston, which is on the Gulf. I love New Orleans, which is on the Gulf. And I love Tampa and St. Pete's in Florida, which is on the Gulf. So you're so right, Catherine. The Gulf, the west coast of Florida, you can't beat the west coast of Florida. If we're staying in the States, it's the west coast of Florida, hands down. We've been to a lot of California beaches because I'm not going to say I'm close to California. I can drive there in 12 hours, but I can get on a plane and be there in 2. So it's a lot closer than Cayman. I love the beach too. I also love the mountains. I hate asking people if they're beach people or mountain people because I think you can be both. Obviously. We have a house in the mountains that I adore. I love going there, and I love going there because it is quiet. And it's just so serene and beautiful. And my dog popped up because my daughter just left, and he heard the door. Can you see him back there? He's like, oh, something's happening. Alert, alert. Nothing's happening. The little dog's like, whatever. I love the mountains too. I love the beach also. Just because I just love there's something about the water and the ocean that never quits. And I love that. Jekyll Island in in Georgia. Barb, I have never been there. I'm going to have to check that out. Clearwater is great. I have been to Clearwater. Beautiful beaches in Clearwater. Love that. St. Simons in Georgia and Flagler Beach in Florida. Oh, I've not been to either one of those. I am ashamed to admit, Cheryl, that I have never visited the state of Alabama. So I think that's something I'm going to definitely have to rectify. I've never been to Alabama. So Cancun, been to Cancun for sure. So yeah, mountains with streams. I love the mountains with streams too. It's just a different mindset for me to be beach ready or mountain ready for sure. So I love both of them. And I'm glad that we have some beach people here and some mountain people here too. All right. One of my favorite things that I was most excited about when I started planning this book was going through the Panama Canal. I have never done that, and I wanted to do it. I still want to do it. I'm going to do it one day. I just know I am. I'm going to do it one day. I don't know when. Um, I love to travel, so one day I'm going to tell my husband I want to go to the Panama Canal, and he'll suit up and take me. My husband is great. He travels with me and takes me to all the places, and he drives and plans all the restaurants and picks them all, and I don't do anything. And he's like, I've been researching about this. Do you want to do this? Like, yes. Like, I don't do any of the work. He does all the work. And I was really glad because in Grand Cayman, they drive. They're a British they were a British colony. I mean, they're their own country now, but they're in the British West Indies, and they still have a lot of British things there, and they drive on the wrong side of the road. They drive on, I don't know how to say wrong. Their steering wheel is on the right side of the car instead of the left, and they drive on the left side of the road instead of the right, and so it's just backward from what I'm used to. And my husband lived in Australia for a little bit, which also used to be under British rule. And he's very used to driving on that side of the road. And so, and all the roundabouts, there's like, I think I saw maybe 3 stoplights on the island of Grand Cayman. It's all roundabouts. And so he's just very used to that. And so he's so great to drive me around. And one day I'll be like, and now we're going to go to the Panama Canal. So I thought I would read just a little bit from the book about them going through the Panama Canal. And it's a lot different than I thought it would be. And I kind of put in my own assumptions of what it would be because you don't really know until you read about it or learn about it. And so I just thought it was really interesting. And as I'm reading a little bit about this, I want you to think about one place that you'd like to visit and put that in a comment. And when I'm finished with the reading, then I'm going to look through and see the places that you want to go. And it's okay if you put more than one. Mine would be the Panama Canal right now, although I want to visit all places, including Alabama, and those beaches that you just put up. So this is just a little bit about the passing through of the Panama Canal. So Jennifer is our main character. Mitch is her love interest, and that's Blanche's brother. Jennifer and Blanche were college roommates and best friends, 45 years ago, or maybe just 40 years ago, maybe 45. Okay. I think that's probably all you're going to need to know. Her husband who passed away, his name was Connor. If I see a Connor in here, I read through this a little bit earlier today. I think she might have talked about him a little bit. Anyway, it's just a few pages. It's just a little scene of them going through the Panama Canal. And then there's a few things after that still related to the canal, but I'm just going to read this one little part. Jennifer stood at the bow of the yacht along with nearly everyone else on board. They'd been told via the app that the front of the vessel on the panorama deck or the coastal deck would have the best views of the Panama Canal as they moved through it. She stood with Mitch's hand resting lightly on her hip, him on her left, with Blanche on her right. "This is incredible," she gushed. "I've never done anything like this." She and Connor had never traveled all that much. Even now, she barely left the cove. Blanche had said she'd traveled all over North America doing comedy shows, but even she seemed raptly attuned to the yacht as it moved into the first lock. "It's only a 10-foot clearance on the sides. Incredible." "The water will raise us up 54 feet, a man said over the loudspeaker on board the yacht, "to Lake Miraflores. This takes about an hour or so. Oh, the gates are opening." The gates, he'd already explained, were huge, thick, and took about 10 minutes just to open. The water wasn't blue and tropical like out in the ocean, but a deep, muddy, greenish brown. Row upon row of people stood in a viewing area, and Jennifer could see a visitor center above them as well. The waterway was black until about halfway up. Then it turned into what looked like rust-stained cement. The lock doors were black and thick and iron as they started to open. She almost expected a rushing of water to come spilling out of them, but it didn't. The yacht had been taken over by a Panama Canal captain, as they were the only people allowed to sail a vessel through the canal. The trip from Pacific Ocean to Atlantic would take all day, roughly 8 to 10 hours, and then they'd already been told they'd be having lunch on Gatan Lake. I recommend doing a 2-day tour of the Panama Canal one day, the announcer said now, if you ever come back this way. You can take boats out into the rainforest of Catan Lake, which is simply beautiful. Jennifer looked from Blanche to Mitch, and it was almost an unspoken pact that the three of them made in that moment. She definitely wanted to come back to this part of the world and explore it more. She reached over and squeezed Blanche's hand. Your show last night was incredible, she said quietly. She'd texted Blanche too, but this was the first time she'd seen her in person since the show. Thank you, she said. I rewrote some of the jokes and put in some new ones, so the show won't be a complete repeat from last night. Jennifer nodded as the PA crackled to life again. The doors are open and we'll be moving in slowly in a minute. Then, once the doors are securely closed behind us, the water will start to rise, lifting us to the level of the next lock. It was a slow process, but one of complete engineering genius. Jennifer marveled that people could build something like this, that someone had even thought of it in the first place. Their yacht slowly moved from south to north, from the Pacific Ocean to the Caribbean Sea. The title of the app notification kept running through her head. 1 day, 2 oceans, 3 locks. The Catan lock was the last one, and by the time they reached Lake Catan and only had that one lock system left to traverse, Jennifer's stomach cried for food. Her feet told her to find somewhere to sit, and she was ready to stop being gawked at. Plenty of people had been pointing, too. She'd taken pictures of the locks, of the scenery on both sides, and of every wildlife sighting someone or the announcer had pointed out. Mantled howler monkeys and white-faced capuchin monkeys, and even a yellow-throated toucan. The wildlife seemed to shift and vary as the day wore on, which made sense as they were literally moving from one climate to another, going over hills and mountains that would be impossible for the water to do without the lock system. Lake Catan held a sense of serenity that Jennifer craved in her own life, and she leaned against the railing and smiled. Many people had left to get lunch, so there was more breathing and standing room on the deck, and Jennifer let the Panama breeze welcome her to its country. This is a freshwater lake, a man said beside her, and she turned to look at him. When the locks open, the fresh water mixes with the salt water, and it'll create a mottled, swirling appearance, almost like gasoline on water. Interesting, she said, and she meant it. The Bridge of the Americas was beautiful, wasn't it? I got a picture for my son. The man pulled out his phone and tapped, swiped, and then turned the device toward her. He stood in the picture, the glorious bridge spanning the scene behind him. The black arch lifted above his head, and Jennifer couldn't help smiling at it again. That's amazing. She'd only taken a picture of the bridge itself, not one with her in it. Robin always told her pictures were better with people in them, but Jennifer rarely wanted to take a selfie just to get a picture of a bridge. I think it's fascinating how much the climate has changed. I wasn't expecting that either, he said. I sort of thought it would be a straight shot from east to west. He chuckled, and Jennifer laughed lightly with him. It's not even east to west. A cry rose up from the other side of the boat, and they both turned that way. Mitch and Blanche had eased over to another position, and Jennifer found Mitch turning toward her, motioning her forward with an urgent look on his face. She hurried to his side. What is it? A 3-toed sloth. He pointed toward the forest that crept right up against the edge of the water. Look, can you see it on that tree there? She searched, a desperation rising up within her. A sloth! She wanted to see that. All at once, her eyes landed on it. Oh, my goodness. Jennifer pressed one hand to her chest, beyond glad she'd come on this cruise. She quickly handed her phone to Mitch. Take my picture with it, would you? She wasn't the only one posing to get themselves in a picture with the sloth, and Mitch took one of her, then one of her and Blanche, and then a selfie with the 3 of them. He's one famous sloth, Blanche quipped, and then she cracked a grin. I bet I can work him into a joke tonight. I bet you can, Jennifer said with a smile. She watched the sloth until she couldn't see it anymore, a thread of happiness pulling through her that she hadn't truly felt before. Her life in Five Island Cove was a good one, of course, but having experiences like this reminded her that the world was a big place. Money didn't mean as much as she sometimes thought it did, and having a personal connection with the right people meant more to her than she'd previously realized. They'd come up 85 feet in sea level to get to this lake and get across the Panama Isthmus. They had 85 feet and hours to go to get to the other side and on their way again. Each one felt like a triumph to Jennifer, and they each served as a reminder that nothing could truly be done in one straight shot. She had to work in steps and locks with her children. It hadn't taken one argument or one disagreement to get them to where they were. She could make amends 1 foot at a time, opening the heavy doors to her life and her heart until they were splayed wide open and she could let her children back in. Come on, Mitch said. If we don't go eat soon, we'll miss lunch. Jennifer's stomach growled and she didn't want to miss lunch, but she said, let me text this picture to my kids really quick first. She did that while her friends waited, and only then did she look up, more hopeful and feeling more happiness and more gratitude than she ever had. Okay, ready. So that kind of gives you some insight into some of the things that is going on with her inside the book. Just to, different things happening in the book that help her realize that she can open some heavy doors, like those big lock doors. I don't know if you've ever gone through a lock before. I have, not the Panama locks, but I've gone through locks before. We just took a trip to the Pacific Northwest up in the Seattle area, and we went through a lock system up there on one of our tours. And it's incredible. It is incredible how close they get those boats to the cement walls, and that they can just introduce water and up you go, and then you're on your way on a different part of a waterway system. It's amazing. I loved it. So as soon as I knew I was going to be riding a long cruise, 15 days, and I knew I wanted to go through the Panama Canal because I love those lock systems. So I asked, what was one place you'd like to visit? So I'm going to check my comments and see what I've got. Oh, yes, my cute dogs. Oh, there's Judy. And Judy wrote one of our books. So I can't remember where Judy's book is. Judith Kime. She's got a book coming out. I want to say hers is 4th or 5th. So it's probably at the end of this month or beginning of March. So make sure that you get that. There's a book every week in this series. So you're going to want to grab them, read them, and be ready for your next cruising adventure week after week. Foreign exchange students said their best place to travel was the other side of the road. Okay, Tennessee. Awesome. I would love to know more about that. Scottish Highlands. Oh, that sounds lovely. Alaska. Yes. One of the cruises we want to take, Lori, my husband and I, is an Alaskan cruise. Sorry, I'm so thirsty when I talk this much. Ireland would be beautiful as well. I've been to London, but we didn't make it up to Ireland. So that would be a life-changing trip as well. Italy and Ireland to see where my family was from. Oh, that's so awesome, Kristen. I hope you can go one day. Here's Debbie again with the mountains, private chalet in the mountains. I want to see the Panama Canal too. We're going to go one day, Cheryl. We are going to go. Want to see the West. I've never been out West. It's beautiful. It is different if you've not been here, for sure. I live in the desert. Utah is a desert. So big mountains, desert past that, right? So very deserty. Nevada is very deserty. Of course, Arizona. It's just the Southwest, the Red Rocks, beautiful. Europe. I've only been to Europe one time, and only for like 2 days. We went to Amsterdam for a day and Brussels for a day. Kind of see that big ball of yarn in Kansas. I'm all for it. I want to get an RV and travel the country and stop at all of the little places like that everywhere we go. And then Judith wants to go to Scotland. Thank you so much for sharing where you want to go. It's always so fun to see what other people are thinking, what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. Okay, we are going to talk about my giveaway. It's separate from the giveaways going on tonight. Tonight's giveaways are for comments on this, but I have a separate giveaway. So I have another giveaway coming up. I'm going to put this one up. I know it's going to cover my face. I'm still here behind you, but I am giving away a $25 gift card, a signed copy of The Sound of the Sea, and a signed copy of The Lighthouse to anyone who signs up for my newsletter, which you can do on this subscribepage.com/Sound of Sea. This is only open until February 5th. So to enter this giveaway, you have to sign up in that page. If you're already on my newsletter, that's awesome. That's fine. You don't have to sign up again. But if you haven't signed up to my newsletter yet at all, you must do it through this to be counted for this giveaway. So please sign up at subscribepage.com/sound of the sea, www.subscribepage.com/sound of the sea. And one person, there will be one winner, not three winners. One winner gets a signed copy of The Lighthouse, which is book 1 in the 5 Island Cove series. You'll get to see Robin and her 4 best friends as they come back and sort of rekindle their friendship after leaving the cove in their 20s. They're now in their 40s, so it's 20 years later. And then you'll get a signed copy of The Sound of the Sea, which is Jennifer's story and her reconciliation with her kids, and a $25 gift card. So be sure to sign up for that giveaway that's going on until the 5th. So today's the 2nd, I believe. I'm not really sure. It is. So this goes through Sunday, and then I'm going to be announcing that winner to the newsletter. That's where you're going to find out. And you'll be there because you'll have signed up, because you sign up right here to do it. So I'm going to leave that up there. I have one that doesn't have that picture to cover my face. I'm going to leave that up there for just a little bit so that you can get to it or write it down and go ahead and sign up for that newsletter so that you'll be able to be notified on Monday if you have won that or not. Okay, and you can unsubscribe anytime. This is my Jessie Newton newsletter. So like I said, I write some romance under Elena Johnson. I write romance under Liz Isaacson. I write rom-com under a name called Donna Jeffries. And then I write women's fiction, which is quite different from my other names under Jessie Newton. So that's it. That's all I have for tonight. Let's see if oh no, wrong button. Oh, I got Hawaii, Scotland, and Italy. Awesome. I'm going to play a little thing. Gives me a little break. I'm going to go through the comments and choose 3 winners for our paperbacks and gift card tonight. And I'll give you some directions on how to claim your prize as soon as I come back with the winners. So don't go anywhere. I'm going to put up a little video. It just mutes my mic. It gives me a couple seconds to go do a random generator and count down and pick some winners. Okay. So don't go anywhere. I'm going to announce the winners live. You'll know in just like 2 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and say goodbye. So give me just a second and I will figure out how to do that. It is right here. All right, I am back. I have the winners. I'm going to hold on to them for 1 more minute because I want to tell you about a couple of other things coming up. Next week, I am doing a live event with Nook on Facebook, facebook.com/Nook. And I'm going to be there with Kristen Etheridge, Laura Ann, Susan Warren, Bridget Baker, and Melissa McClone. The 6 of us are going to be doing a Got Love virtual event hosted by Nook. We're going to be doing a live event. We'll have Q&A. and we're giving away a Nook e-reader, courtesy of Nook, and we will be giving away a free book from each of us. So it's next Wednesday on the 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern, so same time as tonight. That's 8 p.m. Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific. Wednesday night, it's on the Nook Facebook page, and you'll get the code to get your 6 free books and enter to win the the Nook e-reader. So please join us live for that. And wait, I didn't make a graphic for this, but the Sail Away authors, me and the other authors, so Tammy Grace and Kay Brott, Elizabeth Bromkey, Violet Howe, Judith Kime. I'm going to forget some of them. I feel bad. I should have looked them up. Patricia Sands. There's me. I'm number 7. Who am I missing? Maybe I'll look it up really quickly and come back, because I would feel really bad if it was, Ev Bishop. It's Ev Bishop. I'm pretty sure it's Ev Bishop. Let me just make sure. I don't want to leave anybody out and be like, I said everybody except one person. So yeah, Tammy Grace, Ev Bishop, Kay Brott, Violet Howe, Judith Kime, Patricia Sands, and Alyssa Bronke. I got them all. We are doing a live event with Kelly Coates Gilbert on She's Reading. She's Reading is a group here on Facebook with Kelly, and that will be on February 16th, which is a Thursday, 2 weeks from tonight. That one is at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, and 4 Pacific. So a couple hours early. So we've got a couple more live events going on this month that I just think they're so fun. I love interacting with readers. I like that I get to see your picture. Like if I put Cheryl up here, I can see her little profile picture and she can see my face. And I don't know, I just think it's fun to connect. So winners, I know you're all anxiously waiting for winners. So let's get to it. Sound of the Sea paperback is Barb Holler. Yay, Barb. Barb, I need you to email me. And I need you to email me your name and mailing address to elena@elenajohnson.com. So that might be hard to remember. My first name is right on screen, Elana. That you have to spell it right. A lot of people put an E right there in the middle. There's only one E and it's at the beginning. Elena, Elana. Elena@elenajohnson.com. So Barb, you won the Sound of the Sea paperback. Send me your name and email address, and name and mailing address, and I will get it out to you. The Lighthouse winner, signed Lighthouse, is Nikki D. Yay, Nikki. Same for you. You got to email me, Elena@elenajohnson.com, with your name and mailing address, and I will send it to you. And the $25 gift card goes to Kristen Barry Bittner. I hope I said your name correctly. That's always one hard part about the live events, is I'm like, is that Laura or Laura? You know, is that Kristen or Kirsten? I try to do my best. So Kristen has won the gift card. Yay, Kristen. Congratulations. Again, please email me, Elena@elenajohnson.com, and just tell me which one you want, if you want Amazon, Nook, or iTunes, and then the best email address to send for each of those. So like the email address that you use on Amazon, if that's where you want it, so that I can send it to you. I'll just gift it to you through Amazon. So let me know. Congratulations to Barb and Nikki and Kristen. And thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. I had a lovely time, and I hope you did too. We'll see you later.